Good evening, everyone. This is the January 26th meeting of the Studio City Neighborhood Council Public Safety Committee. Let's do the call to order. We are starting at 7:02 p.m. Jeff Harwick is here. Alexis Steinberg. She's absent. Patty Kirby. I don't see her here, although she said she would be here. Jerry, I see you.
Here.
Scott Mandel.
Present.
So it looks like we have a quorum, although a small one. Let's go to agenda item number 2. Approval of October minutes. Without objection, I'll go ahead and deem those approved. I submitted those to, or actually Scott did. Or did? No, I did to everyone. Chair update. Just want to give a shout out to Sherry. She had put on a wonderful CPAB holiday dinner on the 15th of last month. It was great. Great to see all the LAPD in their finery and also all the supporters. And we had a great time eating some good food and garlic bread especially. So shout out to Sherry for helping organize that.
Yay for the garlic bread.
Secondly, I just want to talk briefly about the homeless count. They had a homeless count for 3 days this week. Scott and I actually went on the 24th. We were given a sliver of Studio City, basically bounded by what was it, Vineland, Ventura Boulevard, kind of around the river there. And we did find 10 unhoused people in that particular area. And there were some kind of terrible encampments, trash and whatnot near the river. And going up, it was out of our sector, so we couldn't count the individuals, but there was a lot of activity, Vineland and the 101 just north of the hotel. And that's gotten really bad. We also went by Park and Ride, and incredibly, it stayed fairly clean. We didn't find any people camping there, so that was a good sign. So that's been great. The Coldwater encampment that was here has been gone. Same with the one at Whitsett. So it seems like the only major problem area, unless Scott, I know you're the keeper of the map of these areas, you might shed more accurate light on this, but that is a problem area, and I had hoped to discuss this with the senior lead officer, but I don't believe he's going to be here tonight. What else here? Oh yes, we do plan to have a grocer market store town hall meeting. I've been touching base with Mike about getting some contacts to get that thing going. I don't know if we'll be able to get things up and running for that next month, but perhaps in March. And speaking of March, after March 1st, we're supposed to have in-person committee and board meetings for the neighborhood councils. So our assigned area would be Radford Studios. So we would have to begin, unless there's a change in the law from the state legislature, we're gonna have to start our meetings, hold our meetings, not via Zoom anymore, but physically at the Radford Studios. So there's a lot of work involved in getting prepared. Scott could probably speak better to that than I, but for the next few weeks, we're going to have to do some dry runs and try to get things arranged so that we can actually get back to the practice of in-person, because we haven't had in-person meetings ever since the inception of this elected neighborhood council. So it's going to be a learning curve, and I just want to give everyone, the committee, forewarning about this new policy. And then finally, I think we're going to expect more anti-police motions from the city council. We got a few members that have been newly elected who are very ideologically opposed to the LAPD, use of force, public safety, that sort of thing. So we don't have a whole lot of motions tonight. We have two, but I would envision probably more motions in the future dealing with some of the stuff that may come out of the city council. So that's it for the chair's update. I guess we will go to public comment. I don't see any members of the public, so we'll forego that. Any board comment? I'm sorry, committee comment.
No.
All righty, well, we'll move right along. Let's go to item number 5. I reached out to Sean Smith. Sherry, he's still on leave, is that correct?
Yes, and there is no estimated time when he will return. It's medical leave, and the workman's comp, the whole city takes along for approval of things, so I don't really have more of an update other than from 2 weeks ago when I asked, when Sean will be back, if any of the slow's known. They said, no, expect to be gone for quite a while.
And is Officer Delbar kind of managing things in his absence?
Between him and Rob Benavides, between the two of them, we're down another slow, Jen Diwali, that's been out for almost a year now, and she handles like the NoHo West area up there, Victory and the tiny homes in that area, and she's out. And then one of our other slows, Cesar Gonzalez, he's more in the north end off of Lancashire. He is on light duty, which means he can't be out in uniform or go out on patrol or anything like that. He is at the station, but he's got some, injury issues too that he's dealing with. So they keep him locked down inside. So we're kind of hurting a bit.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
So unfortunately, Officer Smith can't be here tonight. Any public comment as to item 5? I don't see any. We just had some committee comment. Let's move to item 6. Comments by any other public officials and or staff. I reached out to our neighbor prosecutors, both of whom had previous engagements tonight, so they were unable to be here. And we haven't heard from our council reps either. So we will not be having any commentary from that side of the house. Any public comment on this? Any committee comment? Seeing none, let's go to item number 7, update from the North Hollywood CPAB members, and that would be you, Sherry. So take it away.
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you guys for coming to our holiday dinner. I'm glad that you had a good time. So we finally had our very first meeting of the new year last week, and it was an in-person meeting. And what we're going to try to do moving forward is to have in-person plus a virtual option. I don't know how that's going to work out because we've been having it at the station and we had a full house last week. There wouldn't have been any room for any guests to come. So Captain Mohammadi said, we'll try it next month. And if it seems to work okay, technically, because you can't really count on the technology at the station, the link and everything. So if that happens and it works out, then we could possibly start having our quarterly open meetings where you guys can come to it and speak if you need to. We kind of went over a bunch of things, and one of the big things that one of the slows was talking about is the catalytic converter thefts. They're still happening, and they're increasing a little bit more in the north end off of Lancashire in that area. But again, we have to keep people, warn them, about catalytic converters, and it takes like 2 minutes for somebody to come in and get your catalytic converter and they're gone. There's been some I know in Landale Square. Saw a post on Nextdoor, and she heard it, a loud soughing noise, and didn't get a chance to get a license plate of the car, but by the time they got out there, the people were gone. So that's a major issue. Just to sort of recap, what we did last year, with the Crow office is that we had our Winter Wonderland Festival. And it's our second annual one. And it was really, really good. We got about 40 to 45,000 toys donated to us. They were all gone. We gave away that many toys. We got about 8 tons of snow in there for our sledding and all that. There's all kinds of, we had stuntmen there. We had characters there. The Grinch and Santa was there. And we had a petting zoo. So it was a really successful one, and it was put on, is the brainchild of Sergeant Menchaca, who is the sergeant of our community relations office. Unfortunately, next year we anticipate him not being there because he is on the list to be promoted to lieutenant. He already made it. They're just waiting for positions to open up. By the time they get down to him, he could be gone in a month. He could be gone in 2 months or 6 months. We don't know. So it's day by day. He can get the call tomorrow and be gone. So that's how that works. But next year, I don't know who will be running it, which sergeant that will get to replace him, if they'll have the enthusiasm and the drive and the passion that Sergeant Menchaca has for our youth and in community relations. So hopefully it'll be big like last year and continue to grow, as it is part of what the mayor, well, at least the previous mayor, had on the city calendar. There's about 100 kids in our youth programs that they've grown to that amount. And on May 27th at Whitsett Park, there's going to be the soccer tournament that we had last year with the 60 teams from the cadets throughout the city. They all came last year and had a big soccer tournament, and it's during Fleet Week. That's when they plan on having it. So we're going to be having another one. More information will be handed out as it gets closer and they get a flyer going, but it's a fun day. All the soccer fields are taken. And of course we do have displays and stuff like that, as we did last year. The chief really enjoyed it. This year, there's a possibility, it's sort of thinking about it, that we may be doing a carnival, a street carnival, because we had one planned 2 years ago before COVID started. It was going to be on Laurel Canyon between Victory and Van Owen, right along there, because the parking is good for everybody. The street's wide enough and all the parking lots there. Then COVID came in and it had to be shut down. So now that we're open up again, they're thinking about doing it. And if it happens, it'll be put on by the station fund at the station. But again, this is in the talking stages and don't know what time of the year it would happen if we do it. We're probably going to have another car show this year. These are all fundraising events through our PALS group for money for the youth programs and for the officers at the station. As far as our committees, the CEAS committee, which is my committee, we're the ones that go out on surveillance. We do the foot beats, we do the volunteer patrol, and any special events that we're called upon. I didn't write down all the hours, but we've started a foot beat this year, and it's been on Ventura Boulevard. You may have seen some of the volunteers walking with an officer up and down Ventura Boulevard, maybe from Vineland all the way down to almost Coldwater or Whitsett. And they've put in about 135 hours doing that foot beat. So that's pretty good. Here comes Patty, yay. And so then we had Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton to be at our meeting, and meeting was a really long meeting, and he was there for like over an hour. There were some issues that he wanted to talk about, and he did bring up the use of force and the 3 incidents that happened at the first of the year in other divisions. And he also was in charge of the use of force unit at one point. So he gave us a pretty detailed description and how detailed it really is. There's about 25 employees, sworn and civilian, that are that go to the scene, once it happens. They take photos of the crime scene. They do 3D renderings where they can mark it down almost to the inch of where everything is and do it in a 3D rendering. So everybody can see basically what the whole scene looks like. There's 8 detectives that are sent out, 4 administration, a 4 people administrative team, and a 4 team member of the criminal team. Now, the criminal team is the one that comes out to see if the officers have committed a crime. That's solely their main purpose. If they have committed a crime, and then it goes and sees to the DA to see if he will file charges. And Deputy Chief mentioned that I think only one officer in the past 24 years has ever been accused of during the use of force as a crime, and he was acquitted. So when these officers come up as criminal charges for use of force, it doesn't really go anywhere because the officers are checked out and they did follow the policy, even though it may not look like it compared to what all these cameras see. And then, it takes like about 8 months. They have independent people coming in and also getting reports and doing their own investigation. So it isn't like LAPD is doing it all themselves and it's an inside job and they cover it. And it's a long process. So people need to understand that it isn't just one thing. Let's see. Last year, in 2022, our officers in North Hollywood Division have recovered 216 guns from suspects around our division, with all the challenges they are facing, which is a lack of enough officers. Our patrol is really, really short. Our SLOs are being pulled all over the place with all these different tasks and special events that they have to go to, plus trying to do their own job and covering for the SLOs that are not around. And the 911 operators, the PSRs, the dispatch operators, are down 90 people. So when people call in to 911 or the non-emergency line, they're short 90 officers. In whole, the whole department is short about 675 civilian positions. So they're hiring for police officers, they're hiring for civilian positions. So if you know anybody that's interested in a job in law enforcement, whether it be civilian or as a police officer, to please go ahead and apply. Also, Deputy Chief Hamilton is the homeless czar for the Valley, and he's been in meetings with the mayor, and he was talking about one meeting that he had with the mayor who wanted LAPD's input and what they do, and the Department of Sanitation was there. And the stance that LAPD has is that they do not deal with homeless issues unless there's a crime involved in it. Whether the homeless person has committed a crime or it's a homeless upon a homeless assault or whatever, that's when the police are in it. Somebody else has to do it. For the Department of Sanitation, they are the ones that will go around and clean up the encampments. And of course, he went through a whole process of how he didn't go through it, but one of the SLOs met with the council office and a couple of other people and went through the whole process of how long it takes to get one of the RVs towed. It's a whole process, and it goes one at a time. And the other issue is that there are no spaces for them to be towed to. So it's a big problem. But as far as meeting with the mayor, Department of Sanitation said that they absolutely refuse to go out to clean up an encampment unless an LAPD officer is present for their safety, because they've experienced the activists come in to harass them, to threaten them, and they can't get their job done. But when an officer is standing there, at least they feel protected and they develop relationships. So I don't know exactly how Mayor Bass plans to continue with these encampments and with the Department of Sanitation and every other entity, but it's something that she's going to have to figure out and come to a common ground. Let's see. I think that's about it. We've got our big Battle of the Badges blood drive, Tuesday, February 28th at the station from like 1 to 7 p.m. I put a flyer on Facebook. I could send a copy of it to you. People need to call, make an appointment. We're given 39 appointments to fill, and already 16 as of last week. People have already signed up and got a spot. And what it is it's citywide through all the divisions. They are all having the Battle of the Badges blood drive, and it's for the Red Cross. Trying to think of anything else that's coming up. Patty, did
Chief Hamilton went over the case at the coat factory and what's happening
briefly.
with very briefly. But if anybody is interested, it's all cleared and all the information is on the LAPD website. If you care to know what all the investigations went through, and the officer is still traumatized, but he's being supported. Basically, that's it. If anybody, wants any more information, we can get it from the website.
Yeah, the investigation is like 2,800 pages or something if they want to read through it. That's how intense it was.
But he was not found at fault, basically.
Yeah, for the use of force. It's the use of force investigation. It has nothing to do with what that attorney Ben Crump is going after. So he still has challenges to face ahead, and he is not out there, in the public. He's readjusting, and that's all we can hope for. Don't know if he's going to be stationed at North Hollywood or if he'll be moved to another division. But that's all that we have right now to share. Any questions?
Yeah, about the civilian employees, it seems like a drastic number, like 600 short. What's the reason behind that?
I think people are just, if you're a 911 operator, that's a very stressful job when you stop and think about getting those panic calls for help and then the crazy calls that come in and just say there's a man on my roof type of a thing, and you've got to do all that. Could be, it's time for them to retire. I don't think or they just find that it's just not for them. There was a point where the city halted hiring any new people, so they started losing people and they couldn't fill those spots. So I think that those spots are still up there for grabs that haven't filled from something prior.
Yeah, he didn't really give any specific reason, just that we're down that. And
we'll be losing anywhere from, about 1,000 officers within the next couple of months. And that is due mostly to attrition. They've had it, with the city, with them not being supported by our elected officials, the challenges that they face, the things that they need to do. And so it's tough.
Well, let's go to public comment. Does anyone have their hand raised for public comment? Individual with the moniker ending in LAPD, go ahead.
What? It's not moniker. It's fuck LAPD. Yes. And as you know, they've been fucking up a lot of things, haven't they? You can say that again. That's right. Not one, not two, but 3 deaths. Yes, especially the cousin of our friends over at Jeff Hardwick's favorite nonprofit, Black Lives Matters. A founder's cousin murdered by the LAPD in cold blood. Yes, I know. All of you people are saying, what? How could scandal-plagued LA City be killing the cousin of the founder of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles? Well, the answer is LAPD's been doing it for 200 years. And they will continue to kill, murder, torture, SWAT, yes, SWAT, political opponents, dissidents, and those whose skin color is darker than black, as they will continue their rampage on the streets of LA. And remember, when you're driving your car and you see somebody following you in their LAPD, there's 3 things you need to do. 1, call your attorney immediately.
That's time. Thank you.
2, get
Mike,
and
go ahead.
Trade a PUA.
And Sherry, in terms of the Battle of the Badges, you said you've posted online flyers. Is there a way to somehow get flyers out to, you know, buildings that have homeowners associations, that kind of thing, so they can post it in their elevators, post it wherever their communication is to try to.
Yeah, that's a little difficult how we would be able to do something like that because we don't obviously have the manpower.
Mhm.
The SLOs most likely will be posting it. We've been trying to do social media. We have it on our Facebook page and you know, I
So you-
posted on
One would
Nextdoor.
get it from the Facebook page. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I could also do is I could send Jeff a copy of it, the flyer, and then you guys can figure out how you want to get it, whether you put it in your newsletter or that goes out to people or on your website. That would be awesome.
Okay, yeah, I just think it would be nice to fill whatever their spots needed are.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Is there any other public comment, any committee comment as to Sherry and Patty's briefing? Seeing none, thank you very much for the updates.
You're welcome.
I will go on now to item number 8. Discussion and possible motion, community impact statement pertaining to Council File 22-1594. Title Hazardous and Illegal RV Parking, Resident Complaints, Oversized Vehicles, Parking Enforcement. And this motion pertains to a report that was generated by the Board of Transportation Commissioners, and they had been deluged with all kinds of complaints from stakeholders and residents about rising crime and dumping issues, trash issues, drug use in RV-related homeless encampments and oversized vehicles. So the report came out. I've linked it to this particular agenda. I hope you all have had a chance to take a look at it. And what I'm going to do is I'll read the motion itself. Let me see if I can share my screen with the motion. So here's a motion. I have it called A, but it's actually item number 8. The Board of Studio City Amber Council, SCNC, supports Council File 22-1594, title Hazardous and Illegal RV Parking, Resident Complaints, Oversized Vehicles, Parking Enforcement. After a deluge of complaints from Los Angeles residents about the proliferation of immobile and unsafe recreational oversized vehicles in the city, the Board of Transportation Commissioners recently investigated the chronic problem. The Transportation Commissioners found that there was an increase in crime on impacted streets, enhanced risk of fires, illegal drug use, dumping of trash, and blocking of cyclists. Offending recreational vehicles and oversized vehicles were also not being cited by authorities. The commission drafted a report with recommendations for the city council to implement. These important recommendations include, number 1, begin immediate parking enforcement of oversized vehicles in violation of LA Municipal Code sections 80.69.4 and 80.69. Number 2, request that the mayor declare an emergency regarding the proliferation of these vehicles so that the impacted streets can be immediately cleared. Number 3, immediately install parking restriction signage in impacted areas. And 4, adopt a citywide ordinance prohibiting oversized vehicles, should be vehicles, not vehicle, in all residential zoned areas, like many municipalities have done across the United States. The board supports these common sense recommendations for immediate action that will bring order to chaotic areas that have become drug dens, hubs of criminal activity, and sources of environmental pollution and public health hazards. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement, CIS, to Council File 22-1594. So let's go to public comment. Anyone want to give public comment on this? Looks like,
I'll second your motion, so.
oh yes, I always forget that, Scott. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, Scott picked it up.
Mr. Moniker with ending in LAPD, go ahead.
Yes, fuck LAPD. Yes, and as you see, it came down to Jeff having to make this motion. The useless fucks in the LAPD have allowed these trailers and RVs to become hubs used for the gang members. Human trafficking also should be put in the motion as they pack their prostitutes in there. And stolen guns are another popular sale in these RVs. In fact, there's one fucking asshole on Balboa Boulevard by the Ventura Boulevard. And he has one of these. And he also has a truck that he sleeps in. Yes. And what does he do? Oh, he hangs out at the recreation area, loiters all day, uses the bathroom. Exactly. Yes. As you see, that should be added to the motion as well. We have to get these homeless cocksuckers off of our streets. We have
That's
to get
time.
the tents off
Thank
the
you.
street. Immediately, starting tomorrow.
Thank you for that. Any other public comment?
I think that was well said. Thank you.
Seeing none, any committee comment? Go ahead, Sherry.
It's Patty.
I'm sorry, Patty. I
Well,
was looking at the wrong box.
Sherry would probably say the same thing, but I think this is a great motion. We all know why the large vehicles are on the streets, because there's nowhere to put them and it's very difficult to clean them out. There's ordinances about what LAPD can do and can't do when people are living in them, not living in them, have hazardous materials inside, on top. So I think it's okay to send this CIS and bring it to the attention again. It's just not much hope. LAPD can't really do anything until sanitation and the city council areas do their part. So it's kind of really a quagmire. So.
Thank you for that. Yes, it's, the mayor's declared a homelessness emergency. She could amend that declaration to also add, an RV overpopulation emergency, which is causing a lot of problems. I mean, especially there's a whole area along the Bologna wetlands. They're dumping human waste into the protected wetlands. They're really creating a whole lot of environmental problems, not to mention health issues. Scott, go ahead.
I want to comment about the report. I didn't read all 148 pages of it, but I read enough where the report came back pretty much stating the obvious of what's going on where these vehicles are parked. Also, almost a year ago to the day, we supported another report back from council members who are most of them are not on the council anymore. And our council member in CD4 actually voted against even getting a report back from the transportation department to find out how to deal with these it's a completely different council file, but all it was a report back to find out information about it. And our council member CD4 voted no on that. So it is kind of frustrating that the city council starts to dig in and at least recognize these things, and then so much time goes by, and then there's another motion and another motion, and you start to lose track of how many there are right now floating around just on the RV issue. And I wish we would have to do whack-a-mole with all these different council files, but I totally support this, and it's quite a report if you just skim through the 148 pages of what's going on. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it had photographs, maps, diagrams, lots of input from stakeholders, and it was very comprehensive. So I believe the recommendations are well founded. So let's go ahead and take a vote on this. Alexa Steinberg's absent. Patty Kirby,
Yes,
Jerry Lewis,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Aye.
and I will vote yes as well. Motion passes. So let's move on to item number 9, discussion and possible motion, community impact statement pertaining to Council File 21-1465, title Los Angeles Police Department Property Crimes, RV Overpopulation. So this is another kind of related motion, and the LAPD Police Commission went ahead and drafted a report about crimes that were occurring around RV encampments. So I believe our neighborhood council supported this council file last year. Again, all these motions kind of run together, as Scott alluded to. But I know we supported this motion previously to get a report. So the report's been done. And it's, I hope you've all had a chance to take a look at it, but it's pretty eye-opening. And they break it down into kind of the worst of the affected areas. The Hollenbeck division, apparently homicides are up 38% in that particular area. Robberies are up about 17%. If you get down to North Hollywood, they determined that North Hollywood identifies 7 different RV encampments, all of which had an increase in reported crime. So they broke them down. For instance, Ethel Avenue between Sherman Way and Raymer Street, there was a 100% increase in crime, 3 traffic collisions, 6 crimes occurring between July 28, 2021 and January 28, 2022. 3 other crimes of a different nature occurred during that time frame as well. And there were only 2 vehicles there. So I will go ahead and read the motion. Let me share my screen once again. All right, so it's B on here, but it's actually motion number 9. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 21-1465, title Los Angeles Police Department, Property Crimes, RV Overpopulation. In February 2022, the City Council adopted the Public Safety Committee report of this council file, seeking reports from the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, and Fire Department, LAFD, about crime and fires along recreational vehicle RV corridors in the city. The LAPD drafted a report in May 2022 addressing the RV crime issue, which was approved by the Los Angeles Police Commission in December 2022. There are 216 specific locations where oversized vehicles and RVs have a positive correlation with increases in crime. The 49 most problematic RV areas were spotlighted, including 7 RV encampments in the North Hollywood district. In the North Hollywood area encampments, there was between an 83% to 150% increase in crime, the worst being the Tahunga Avenue, Heartland Street encampment. Noteworthy findings, conclusions include: number one, crime numbers are elevated within RV encampments. Two, there will be an increase in RV presence unless more restrictive parking regulations are enacted. Three, outreach efforts should occur prior to enforcement. Four, there should be a modus operandi, MO, reporting code associated specifically with RV crime to get more data. And five, there needs to be more RV salvage recycling facilities to dispose of scrap RVs. The board urges the city council to address these findings with new ordinances and funding to stop the proliferation of RV encampments and associated increases in crime. This motion is to be submitted as a community impact statement, CIS, to Council File 21-1465. And let me amend it slightly. First sentence, let's amend it to: the board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, offers continued support, because we did address this in an earlier council file. So this just really addresses some of the main takeaways from that particular report. So let's go to public comment. I see one hand up. Individual ending with the moniker ending in LAPD. Go ahead.
I'll second before he speaks.
Oh, yes, second. Thank you, Scott.
LAPD. Yes. And there's Scott again, correcting a Brown Act violation. That's Brandon's job. Where's the genius? I don't know. He's lurking out there somewhere. I can feel it. Yes. And I have a friend here, Billy, our homeless friend here. We'll let him talk about this. Go ahead, Billy.
Oh yeah, I live in my RV and I like it. I can shit wherever I want. I dump my sewage all the time at night, usually between 3 and 5 a.m. It's real easy. You can chase all the houses. When all the Jews go on vacation, you just park. And then you notify your friends and they burglarize the houses and they give you back 15, 20% of the loot. So it's a good business. It's a good business model. So I don't want you fucking with my business model with me and my homeless friends, because I'm
That's
a
time.
businessman.
Thank you for that.
There you go. Thank you
Any
very much.
other public comment?
No.
Seeing no more public comment, let's go to committee comment. Scott, go ahead.
Thanks. I did read the entire report. This one was only 18 pages. There's a very short paragraph. It's only 3 lines. I'd actually like to read it. So as far as the central area is one of the divisions, central area advised that they did not have any issues with RV encampments as they relate to criminal activity. Strict parking regulations through most of the central area limit the span of hours available for parking or disallow parking completely. So that's how it worked for central area, which had nothing to report. Just thought I'd share that.
Go ahead, Sherry. I'm sorry, Patty.
It's okay. As in the previous motion, it's the same thing. LAPD has their hands tied. One of the senior lead officers was talking the other night about how he had all his ducks in a row. He had the tow truck, he had the location to tow it to. And right about what, Sherry, maybe 2 hours before the tow truck was due to arrive, they canceled that. They couldn't take it to the facility. Another area got the facility first. So they had to cancel towing that particular RV. So that's just, so you all know, I think this is a great motion. It's just that they're not, until they have facilities and they have staff, it's going in circles. That's it.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a huge problem. I know the neighborhood council supported They were going to establish a new parking facility for RVs and other vehicles south of downtown. We need more of these areas for the oversized vehicles to store them after they've been towed. And also there's the whole salvage recycling aspect, because because it's, you know, you have environmental hazards and that sort of thing. There are certain protocols to destroying the RVs. So, you know, we need to do more. I think the police are all on board. We have municipal codes which permit the police to do their jobs, but it's these other pieces that no one really thinks about, or the city council doesn't address, or they're not giving adequate funding to, that really prevent the police from doing their job. And then the residents get frustrated. They think nothing's happening. The police aren't doing their job, when it's actually, they want to do their job. They're not given the tools and the resources to enable them to do that. So it's really a bad situation. Let's go ahead and go to a vote then. Alexis Steinberg, she's absent. Patty Kirby,
Yes.
Jerry Lewis,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Aye.
and I vote yes. Motion passes. Great. And these are two kind of interwoven motions. They really bounce off each other. Well, what's good is you've got one from the transportation, the Board of Transportation Commissioners. You got the other one from the Police Commission. So there's two different aspects of it, but they're both basically saying the same thing. So hopefully our board will pass this and move this along to Nithi Raman's office and also to Paul Krikorian's office, and hopefully they will render enthusiastic support for these motions. That's it for number 9. Number 10, discussion regarding potential topics for future meetings. Mike, I'm going to touch base with you about the town hall. I need to touch base with Scott as well for the logistics involved in having an in-person meeting with probably a lot of individuals and business representatives. So we'll try to get that going. Probably not next month, but I'm looking at maybe March. And then we have the whole dynamic of the in-person meeting. So something to think about. If anyone has a particular motion that they want heard for the committee, please let me know. I've been keeping an eye out, but I've seen some stuff from Councilwoman Hernandez. She's got some LAPD related things that were just put into the hopper in the last week. So I'll give those a gander, and anything else that comes down the pike. That's it for potential topics. Does anyone else have any idea of a potential topic? Sherry, go ahead.
Excuse me. I was just wondering about this business town hall that you're planning. Did you want anybody from the division to speak, to be there, and any specific topics you would like them to address? If you think about that, let me know, and I will reach out and see if our captain's available, if he can do it, or a senior lead officer, you know, somebody that we can possibly get for it. That's
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll need some police input into this. It would center
And
around loss prevention, crime around businesses, shoplifting, things like that. Mike, go ahead.
No, I said, and if possible, the neighborhood prosecutor.
You need some.
Kevin
And-
Defner, yeah.
And the people from the businesses are in a loss prevention capacity. So many times they're either ex-military, ex-law enforcement, but you know, that is their focus, whether it's, you know, for the supermarket chains, et cetera, or some of the restaurant. These are people who are dealing with it throughout the San Fernando Valley. So,
Yeah, I know
Well-
it's a problem, but you know, like with the thefts and everything like that, a lot of the big chains don't even bother filing a report or complaining about it because it's just not worth it. And then on the other side of it is that, you know, are they going to actually have charges filed against them? That's questionable as well, depending upon, you know, the situation. But another thing that I thought, I don't know if you'd be interested in this, and how big of an audience that we could get, we could always try to see about getting communications to come out and give a talk about when to call 911 and when not to call 911. I did something in the Studio City Life magazine to let people know what's an emergency and non-emergency call. And the other thing too is if there's enough interest, we can do another use of force presentation so people will understand the process that happens when there is a use of force. We did that last year and we didn't get a huge turnout, but if you guys want to host one and try to maybe get it out to the other councils and out to the community, we'd have a bigger audience. Again, something like that would have to be a town hall virtual format. I don't know if you're allowed to have that or if you need to have something like that done in person. It's something you might have to check, because being virtually is a little bit easier for more people to attend than, you know, driving over to a location. And you might be able to get, you know, more people from the upper echelon of the department to come and speak that way as well. So it's just something to think about, you know, for future stuff.
Definitely. And I was thinking the whole concept of a citizen's arrest. I don't know if I doubt the stores permit their employees from doing that sort of thing anymore, or the parameters involved with that, but that's something that law enforcement can certainly address. Let's go to public comment. I see one hand up. Individual ending in LAPD. Go ahead.
Yes, the fuck the LAPD. Yes. So Alexa, she's abandoned us again, Scott. She doesn't care anymore about Studio City. No. But we do. And of course, we would like to have one of these cops come in. Let's have a criminal defense attorney come in and talk about what they do when LAPD beats the fuck out of a black man or kills a black man and what those procedures are. And then they'll take questions and you can all ask questions. Well, they're not going to answer those questions. They're going to take the fifth. Yes, that's the whole point. Wouldn't you like to see our city attorney and all the cops plead the fifth? I would. There'd be hundreds of people that would attend the event. And finally, what about food? What kind of food are you going to feed Goat Puppet to get him to come out of his farm for this event? That's what we want to know. We want to eat some food. That's why we want live events. These virtual meetings, the only thing we get is Taco Bell from this cheap bastard driving this car with me around it. Hey, wait a minute. Yes, that's right, cheapo. That's not nice. But I can only tell the truth. Yes. So what's it tonight, McDonald's?
Time's
No,
up. Thank
Taco
you
Bell.
for that. See no other. Oh, Patty, go ahead.
I'd like to put on the agenda an update on the CERT team, search and rescue, revisiting that and having another one late March or early April, and update the community on our kits. Scott and I have assigned ourselves a little task that we will take care of. Maybe Jeff, you could help us with that, or even Jerry, and update the community for the next meeting.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll try to get something. We'll put it on the agenda and we'll also try to get it out on our social media as well.
Yeah, let me know what you need.
Yeah, as soon as we set a date, but first we need to go in there and take a look at the kit and make sure we don't, kind of make a list of what we don't have in the kit that we need to get still. Like flashlights that we noted, Scott and I noticed. So those kinds of things, but that's not, it's just an update because we did get the $5,000 grant and I think we owe it to the public to know what we're doing.
Great idea. So yeah, let's definitely add that to the agenda for next time. Closing comments. I just want to say thanks for all coming. Happy New Year. And get ready for in-person meetings. If you know anyone who wants to join the Public Safety Committee, please shoot me an email and give me that individual's name, because we're always welcome to having new members, give valued input. And that's it. So let's go ahead and without objection, I'm going to adjourn.
Great, thank you, Jeff.
Seeing none. Good evening, everyone.
All right, thanks.